Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of The Sweet House. I am sitting down with the incredible Lauren Makk. You might have seen her on A&E, Oprah's own network, or HGTV. She is the world's best designer in my book. So welcome, Lauren.
Thank you.
Welcome to The Sweet House. You are already sitting down admiring the art and the chairs and everything.
It's so beautiful here.
Well, thank you for stopping by first and foremost. I have to give you all your flowers. I've watched all your interviews, everything from Good Morning America to Drew Barrymore and just all of it. And Lauren always gives the tips for design, but she is somebody who designs like a really good life for yourself. I mean, you've been doing design for 20 plus years.
Yes, I have.
So you went from LA and doing all the big things out in LA, and now you're in Nashville.
Yes, I am.
And you came during the pandemic.
I did. Yes.
What brought you here?
The pandemic.
The pandemic itself.
Well, actually, Jasmine, because let's go. Actually, the pandemic started on and around like March the 15th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for
literally
most of us,
the world shut down March the 15th.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I had a baby March 25th. So 10 days into the pandemic in Los Angeles, where it was really scary in a big city like that.
Yeah.
I had the baby and I was like, everything in my work shut down. Everything around us was shutting down. And I got really anxious. You know, I was like super scared.
Especially when you're in that postpartum phase and you just have a baby and just everything just kind of feels like the Twilight Zone anyway.
And it really was. Like in a sense it was. I mean, thankfully I was probably already going to be with the sick and shut in at the house, you know? They call that the sick and shut in.
Isn't it funny how motherhood has this like sense of handicap that's not really a handicap?
That's true. Girl,
but look,
back.
I'm trying to change the stigma because I'm just like, it's not a handicap. No. Like I did more in the past 2 years being pregnant with morning sickness and then throwing up everywhere, plus the other end, and then having the baby and recovering. I did more in 2 years than I've done in my entire life.
It's true.
And
it forces you to, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. There's some like mega force that happens within you.
Yeah, your
obviously,
body's like,
you got it because you picked up and moved.
Well, so let me say this too. My husband and we were dating long distance when I was pregnant. So he was in Nashville and I was in LA. And the plan all along was that he was going to move to LA and because I was doing television there and that's where TV was done. Yeah. And so he was like, you know, I'll pack up my business and I'll move to Los Angeles. And certainly after we got pregnant. But then the pandemic hit and he was like, listen, if you move to Nashville, we can have a house, we can do this, we can do that, you know, and I've already got my business established there. So he's like, you want to come to Nashville? And because everything had dried up in a day and I had this baby and this crazy mortgage and all this crazy bills in LA, I was like, it was a no-brainer. Let's pack up and move to
But Nashville is very expensive too.
Now.
So, yeah.
2 years ago, thankfully it was less expensive.
Yeah.
And certainly less expensive than LA. Yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure. Right. But in the past couple of years, I'm like, what happened in Nashville? Because we literally all went inside on March 15th, like it was an HBO TV show.
Yes.
Then we all started to trickle out into the public eye again. And we started, I mean, I remember driving down 65, like through downtown, and I was like, where did all these skyscrapers come from?
Oh, yeah. Well, because everybody moved from LA.
Yeah.
We're all here. Hello, welcome.
Y'all really are all here.
Hey, in effect, I know it's kind of crazy. Like, I keep worrying, like, who the hell is moving here? And hopefully I didn't sleep with them.
Look, it doesn't matter who you slept with before you got married.
Yeah. That's right. Please don't let it be the ghost of Pussy Past.
The ghost of Christmas Past.
Well, we'll call it Christmas.
The ghost in LA.
We'll call it that.
Have you met anybody from, do you know anybody from LA that came to Nashville?
No, I don't, thankfully. So that's a good thing, right? No, just
pause
me.
This for 2 seconds because my phone just rang, guys. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, we're back.
Technology.
Do you know anybody from LA that moved to Nashville?
I don't.
You know?
Thankfully.
Not yet.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. You know, it's a big city, thankfully. So, and this is, I call this the big little city.
Yeah. So, I call it New York of the South.
It is. It really is.
I don't think people realize how booming this city is.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because when you go to Atlanta or some of the other southern cities, I mean, they still aren't necessarily as actively booming as Nashville is. You go downtown Nashville and it looks looks like people are walking in droves through the streets like they are in New York.
Yes, it is. And you know, there's like 17 skyscrapers. I joined the local commerce society, but the skyscrapers here are indicative of how much growth there is. And when you see those kinds of things in the sky, like that's a big deal. And there's so much money to be made here. And that's one of the things I love about moving to Nashville is like, I can become something bigger and better. You know, in LA, I was another fish in a huge ocean, right?
Yeah.
Here, I feel like a big fish in a small pond, smaller pond. You know?
Well, that's a good analogy to make, but you made waves in LA though. So it's like you kind of were a big fish, even though, so again, I want to give you your flowers because it's not easy to make it in any major city. I don't care where you are, Nashville, New York, Atlanta, what have you. So the fact that you were able to go out there and be on major networks and create a resume for yourself throughout the years is incredible.
Thanks, Jasmine.
So,
you're right.
Of course.
All right, I'll give myself a pat on the back.
Give yourself all of it. And then the fact that you were able to transition like all the things that you were doing in LA to Nashville, because life became remote for a lot of people. And so you brought what you were doing here with you, which might not have been a possibility before the pandemic.
I agree. And that's exactly it. I think it changed the way that we all do business, our own businesses, or you know, run small business, and even just like interact with each other in the world, right? So now it's like I can do my things remotely. I can come hang out at the Sweet House and do a live remote to, you know, the Today Show or whatever.
I know. So when you texted me earlier and you were like, are we doing this in the studio or like just via Zoom? I was like, we're in person because there's something to be said about being able to like sit face to face and have a conversation.
It's true. So, and it's so good that we're, I guess I won't say officially back, but like back, you know, and able to do that.
Yeah. We're back outside.
Yeah, we're outside again.
And we also just found out that we are sorority sisters.
Yes, it's so true.
Yes.
I can't believe
and that also speaks to the volume of like our sorority. Like she pledged in California. I pledged at University of Memphis. Here we are in Nashville, Tennessee, doing this interview. And it's just really cool that we're connected. And then we showed up in pink and green today because you guys know which sorority we're in.
And
it is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. The first and the finest.
The first and the finest. That's it.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Cal State Northridge.
Okay.
Yeah, I started at Oklahoma State, which is where I'm from. I'm originally from Oklahoma City. I started at Oklahoma State, and then I went to California because I wanted to be an interior designer, and I knew that Oklahoma was not gonna give me what I needed. Yeah. And so I went to Cal State Northridge, and it's really a kind of a commuter school. It wasn't really a big educational. I don't know, it's not an educational facility, but it wasn't like it wasn't like a college, you know? Yeah. It was a commuter school. Really.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, Memphis is also known as a commuter school, which is interesting to me because I do still feel like I got like a really good community experience on campus, but it's known as a commuter school too.
That's interesting. So, and then you still joined a sorority and got involved on campus.
All of it.
Too.
I mean, all the things. I mean, I still go back and do stuff during homecoming. Like we have our own like Black alumni homecoming. It's like it's an ordeal.
I better get it together.
Yes. So
I haven't been back since, honey.
Look,
not once. I don't even drive down the street any longer when I'm in LA.
Look, it's part of it. I mean, honestly, we don't go back often. I go back because I still have family there and then some friends there too.
Right.
I do want to talk about the fact that you said you had to go from Oklahoma to LA to kind of pursue your dream.
Yeah.
But do you think if you went to college in today's time, you would still have to do that same thing if you were going for something as specific as like design or being in TV? Or
certainly not. You know, I think that it was just a different time then.
It was.
You know, it was like we're talking decades ago, darling.
Yeah.
and the world was...
I can't tell.
Yeah!
I'm sure you guys can't tell either. We both just graduated last year.
There we go. Last year. Don't forget it. Make sure that's on the camera. But, you know... the world is so different now, you know, and the technology has made everything so much more accessible and smaller. And I don't want anyone who's listening to this who's not in a big city, I don't want you to think that is the formula. That's just what worked for me in my time. Yeah. And now you don't even need a camera crew and a whole bunch of people to be a star. You just need your cell phone. Yeah. And you can be a TikTok star who's more famous than half of the actual celebrities out there, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's just times have changed. I had just, as a young black girl from Oklahoma, had never seen an interior designer. There was no such thing where I was from at the time. You know, I only knew that interior design was a thing because I saw it on Designing Women on TV.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't realize it was a thing until I got older.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really wanted to be a graffiti artist. That's what I had hopes and dreams in. Yeah.
You wanted to do graffiti art?
I wanted to, it's a street artist, a muralist, if you will. But I say graffiti because that's a term everyone can understand. But like I had dreams of being a muralist. I wanted to paint Europe all over, and that was my plan.
Yeah.
My mom was like, "What are you doing? I have been spending all this time getting you to college. You're going to college."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Huh?" So that's how it happened.
Well, it's really cool because I feel like this next generation, especially having gone through the pandemic, they are trying to decide if they want to go to college or where they want to go to college, if it's worth it, if their return on investment is even going to be an option.
Yeah.
A lot of them didn't go back to school during the pandemic because of how challenging everything were. All the things were. So just like continuing your education and figuring out like what you want to do, like, because jobs kind of like, they kind of, what are we doing now?
Well, and I just think the world is so different. Again, you know, like the generation I came from, which, okay, because I'm 40, I'll just put it out there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not of this generation. Like I have stepchildren of this age and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? Because, but the generation above us, my parents were like, college was the way to getting out of a financial situation. Right.
It was really was.
And because the generation before them couldn't really afford to go to college, or there weren't even colleges for them to go to, you know what I mean?
Or they couldn't get in.
Exactly.
For reasons of segregation and other things that were up against them.
Right. So education for me and my family generationally has been about getting us to a progressive spot.
Right.
Now, it's not necessarily that same way. Now, I particularly appreciate education because I like learning. Yeah. But a lot of people don't, you know? And I'll be very honest, I didn't get great grades.
I mean, you have to think about it. Like when we were growing up, encyclopedias were like the way that you would learn things. And people probably don't even know what an encyclopedia is these days.
Right.
Because you can literally like Google everything.
Exactly.
But the age of the computer and technology is like advancing all of that for us. So you don't necessarily have to go about education in the same way.
Right. And you know, I think about it now, like would I do college again personally? I don't know. Yeah. You know, there's so much on the job training that people offer that's invaluable that I couldn't get if that most people, you know, like if now you went and got an internship at, I don't know, some really top rated news station, you couldn't get that just by learning it in a book, you know?
No, you couldn't.
Right. So,
well, I'm just curious to even see how colleges adapt to like these professions, especially for creative professions like design or like I went to school for broadcast journalism, which personally I feel like you either have it or you don't. Right. You either are good on camera, you're good at talking and communicating to people, you're either good at graffiti art or design or you're not.
Or you're not.
So to me, I'm just like, I guess if I could go back and do it all over again, I would go to college because I do feel like it fostered like a sense of curiosity in me that like became a skill set, a habitual skill set. Like I continually want to continue learning.
Yes.
Like the reason why I'm doing these interviews is because I'm curious about who you are as a person. Like it allows me to do research too. Before this interview, I'm watching all of your interviews and like learning more from you. And then I get to sit down, communicate with you because that's like my natural talent and then I get to share it with people.
There you go.
And to me it's like the ultimate package and college kind of gave me that like life cycle of what that looked like. So for me, I think I would go again. Plus I pledged.
Hey, so. that part.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that part was good for me. But I want to talk to you about what it looks like a day in the life working at HGTV, being on set because you look absolutely gorgeous on most days. On every day, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Even when you're in sweats, I cannot imagine you looking any worse.
Go on.
You look gorgeous.
Tell that to my husband.
I have to praise her.
Thank you.
Lavender nails.
Thank
I mean,
you.
just like the attention to detail. I know she's a designer because everything is just to the T.
Well, I appreciate you for saying that, girl. I could go on about this outfit and these nails.
Look.
These are press-ons, by the way.
Well, look, press-ons are really...
I'm obsessed now.
Yeah, I haven't done them yet because I have Rain, and I just feel like she likes to chew my nails. She likes to eat my hair. She likes to do it all.
We gotta get that girl a teeth and ring.
Look, I've tried. She don't want any toys, anything other than like the real thing.
Yeah, well,
look,
my four kids are like, well, there's nothing real on mommy, so
I'm gonna get it all. So, but anyways, I wanted to see because it's like it's not easy to be on a set, to have cameras in your face, to have mics looming over you, and then you're still trying to like build and design and be natural about it. Like, what does that look like? Take us through like a day in the life of filming with HGTV.
Oh, I would love to. You know, this is a dream come true. HGTV is the godfather of all of design and TV and influencing and all of those things that come with it. And for many years, I had wanted to be on there. I've done a lot of networks, but being on HGTV is definitely a real culmination, I guess. It's like a full circle moment because it's the big one, you know? And I'm so grateful. All of them are big, to be honest with you. Thank you, ABC. I love you.
Absolutely. Well, you've done so Oprah. Many. So, yes, you too, Oprah.
Yeah, you're right. Just a few. But, you know, it's really, it feels like home to be there because it is a part of the bigger vision for what I have for myself. And so I love it. And also just by nature, because they are the granddaddy, they have really great budgets.
Yeah.
So it's fun to work with them, you know?
So what do you do when somebody doesn't have a good budget to work or a high budget to work with?
I work with it anyway because I love to, I don't believe that you have to spend a lot of money to live well. I mean, let's go over my outfit, for instance. These are press-on nails. I got them for $6 at the store. But honey, I put them on because I broke them. I
cannot tell that they're press-on nails.
Well, thank you. And then my shirt, hello, all thrifted. My shirt was probably $1. This jacket, $10. You don't have to spend a lot of money to look great, you know?
Absolutely.
And so I think that all design should be accessible to people, you know? I don't, and so when I feel like the challenge of a smaller budget is actually more fun for me because I spend frivolously. I can, like really get creative. And, I love to DIY. It's my passion. And so when I get to make things out of nothing, that for me is my therapy. It's my church.
You do make something out of nothing.
I try.
Yes. I mean, you have found so many good pieces in thrift stores, and she shares these on her social media. So I did want to talk about your transition from TV to doing your thing on social media too, with Makk hacks, as you like to call them.
I do.
So,
I love a good rhyme.
Yes, I love a good rhyme. That's why we're in the Sweet House. It isn't a rhyme, but that's part of your brand.
It's part of my brand. It is.
I do love that you didn't just like hang your hat on being on TV. Like you are also like cultivating this whole brand on social media.
Thank you. Well, interestingly enough, we talked about how the world has changed and the world is so much smaller. And I realized that social media is a 24/7 business card, right?
It is.
If you want to watch HGTV, you have to have cable. You have to be at home when my show is on. You have to be there and waiting. You have to wait through the commercials. But if you don't have those things or that accessibility, you can go on your social media channel and find me.
It's expensive.
It is. It can be expensive. That doesn't mean cut off your cable, everyone.
No,
please watch HGTV.
Cut off your cable. Please keep on your keep on some whatever apps you're using or whatever. But it is expensive when you think about it.
And the convenience, I'd say. Everyone's in their pocket. Not everyone's at home during 7 o'clock to watch, my show. Be at home at 7 o'clock to watch my show, by the way. But you know what I'm saying?
It is.
Exactly. But I say that to say, it's just changed. And so when you think of social media, it used to become, for years, for me, I was like, oh, what another thing. I was kind of pompous about it. I don't want to be online all day. I've got things to do in real life and blah, blah, blah. And that's not to say that's not real life. I just mean like I wanted to be present, and I still do. But I recognize the importance of a social channel, and especially when it comes to promoting your brand or your business or whatever endeavor you're pursuing. So whether you're wanting to be a chef or a hairstylist or whatever, whoever's listening to this, social media is really actually very important.
It is,
and now more than ever.
It is, and I feel you on the whole notion that you don't want it to take over your life because you still want to be present. Right. I just sometimes it is hard to show up on social media, especially when the craft that you do is actually your real passion, not necessarily social media. It's just our means of communication at this point.
And also too, I mean, being on social media means not only are you on social media, but you have to be a good photographer and a videographer and a lighter and an audio sound engineer. And it's like,
well, how do you feel about that? Considering like when you film these shows, you have all these people.
Right.
Like today, we're filming this and we have these people. But on a typical day when I'm shooting, it might just be me.
But your social media is amazing.
Look, I'm a one-man band. That part. All the way across.
And also, I don't know what I don't know. Because I'm like, what are these trending sounds? What is this thing? Like, how do I do that? And I have now a team around me because I've had to. And I recognize the importance of it. But I still, if I'm shooting a DIY video, like me at my home, I'm videoing that. It's me who's doing all the work. I just have someone else edit and post it.
Is there ever any time when you don't feel like doing it?
All the time.
Yes.
I don't feel like doing nothing.
Look,
let me make sure that
as a mother and a wife and someone who's on TV and someone who wants to take care of herself. You have all these responsibilities. So sometimes like you don't feel like doing it.
I don't.
So
often.
Speak to those people. Like
if you don't feel like it, I don't. And sometimes I just don't. You know what? I don't. I don't feel like it and I don't do it. And I'm okay with that. And it's just one more day. And then it's not like someone's going, what the hell is going on? Jasmine hasn't posted today. I can't believe her.
Look, but in your head, sometimes it's easy to feel like you need to be on social media 24/7 or you need to be like working at least 24/7.
I would just say keep a consistent schedule. Like if it's 2 times a week, then just do it 2 times a week. But like I'm at the stage where certainly after this pandemic and these kids and everything else and maybe even my age, I'm like, I'm gonna do what I can do. Yeah. And that's that on that. Yeah. I can't do any more. And like I stress myself out. I stress myself out all the time over everything. So like I don't need any extra stress. So if I'm a post, I'm a post. If I don't, oh well, I'll get to it. You know? Yeah.
And do you ever worry about like how your content's gonna perform?
All the time.
Yeah.
But it's just another fun little neuroses I get to check off the list of 1,000 other things I trip about all the time. So it's like, whatever. But yeah, I do. I mean, it can be dismaying. Like you can have some really great social media success and then you don't. And then it's like, what happened? You don't like my stuff? Yep. But I can't take stock in that. I watched Losers. Have you seen Losers on Netflix?
I haven't seen Losers lately.
Okay, Losers. I was watching Losers last night on Netflix, and Saria Bonali. Do you remember Saria Bonali? She was a black ice skater in the 90s. Like,
I don't.
And she was a black ice skater, which is a very rare thing.
It is a rare thing.
Certainly in the 90s.
Where is she from?
She's from Paris, but she was adopted into a white family. But she was an incredible ice skater. Yeah. And I mean, she would do 3 times the amount of flips. She would do backflips on the ice. She would, kick it and did 10 rope pirouettes in the air, honey. She was a dancing queen on ice, okay? And made it look effortless. And she would not win the gold medals. And it was infuriating to her because they kept saying, using coy and casual terms like she's exotic and she's unexpected and all of these things, but basically she was black and they didn't like
and the
her present exactly. And she wasn't what they considered to be an ice princess. Yeah. Okay. And she put her value in her medals as opposed to her value in her worth and what she was doing out there and the impact she was making to the community of people who wish they could have done that too and were little black girls who'd never seen ice. Right. Yeah. But still found what she was doing.
I mean, it's not a common thing for any of us
at all. Yeah. And I mean, she was a gymnast and she said in her interview, like, I was good at anything I put my mind to. I'm an athlete by just nature, right? She was a great fencer. She was a great a gymnast. She was a great diver. Like she just had
all
the
these
skills.
Areas that black people are not traditionally in.
Right.
But to have that skill set, that you were supposed to be in that moment.
Exactly. And so she was disappointed by the fact that she wasn't getting applauded for her worth, not recognizing that there was other ways to return on her investment, right? Yeah. Like she now is like speaking to these, there's like foundations in Harlem that take black girls ice skating and like it wouldn't have been if it hadn't been for her,
You know what? I said that last night when we went to go see Ain't Too Proud, The Temptations. I mean, it's just really interesting because Otis Williams, the founder of The Temptations, who gathered all these people together, because there's been over 25 Temptations at this point because they had to. People were dying off or leaving the group and coming back to the group. There's just all these transitions. But he said last night, so he gave a special appearance in Nashville. And he said last night, like, I have been able to sustain the name, The Temptations. I mean, for years. I mean, they started performing like in the 50s. And when you think about it, here it is 2023 and they have a Broadway show.
Right.
And so because of one person like sticking to his calling, he opened the doors for all the rest of these people to even have a job.
Exactly.
I mean, down to the ticket holders last night, I was just looking around and I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. Like this is like literally this man who came here and did what God told him to do.
Right.
Because he could have walked away. He could have gotten on drugs, all kinds of stuff that they were all facing.
Right.
I mean, some of the parts in the play were about the segregation that they faced as artists. And some of the songs they wanted to sing, they couldn't sing for fear of upsetting white audiences.
Right.
So it was just really cool for him to make an appearance on stage last night as the last founding member of this group that started like over 50 years ago.
Right.
And then to say that, and then to be able to offer all these people a career.
Exactly.
So I'm like,
because how many groups have not formed since the Temptations that are, Boys to Men, even, like, I mean, just that every decade has got a Temptations like.
But it just spoke to me. I woke up this morning and I was like, like I am stepping into my calling even more. Like I don't think I've ever been more inspired. Like the fact that it might take you 50 years to like walk across the stage and tell your story.
Right.
I mean, the Grammys are great. Like them performing every night is great, but it's just really cool to like 50 plus years.
Yeah. And that's what you really want is longevity. Like, so when it comes to just going back to social media, right?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to me building my audience, right? Whatever that it looks like, I don't want a million people who are not interested in what I have to say, but are just following because of looks or whatever else. Like I want 200,000 people who really love DIY and are moms and are like going through midlife shit like me. Can I say the S word? Excuse
yes,
me.
you can say the S word. You can give all the passion you want to give. Yeah, because all the other mamas get it too.
There you go.
We're walking around mumbling that under our breath, like, ooh.
Right. But I mean, there's so many nuances. Like, so I want to attract the right tribe. I don't just want numbers. You know what I mean? And I think that's
how I've
longevity.
been. Yeah, because I've been at this for a long time, and I've actually been working in social media in corporate and like for myself building my brand for a long time. And sometimes I sit and I'm like, man, I should be like way further along than I am. But then I have to remind myself. Exactly.
Like what who said that you should be there? Because of what you think you should be?
It's like your own imposter syndrome is putting you in these places where you feel like, man, I should be way further along. But I'm with you. Like, I agree. Like,
but I was going to say this too. When you do find whatever that there is, or wherever further along is, you have all this stuff to show for the path getting there, right? So like when you do get to wherever that is, right? Of Me Too, like whatever that is, like people can look back and have like a whole bunch of stuff to enjoy of my work, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so it's like, it's kind of like collecting everything so that here it is, I've done all this, like, so like they can enjoy it, when they find you or whatever.
Absolutely. And I think, they can enjoy it. And your story is that much more rich because you have designed, no pun intended, the sweet life. You see what I did there? That was a Makk hack.
Oh, I see what you did there. That was good too. That was really good.
But I wanted to talk about you designing your life too, because you're very vulnerable on social media.
Yes.
So you don't just share Makk hacks, but you're also sharing like life moments that have helped you. So you talk about being sober.
Yes.
And I know you're coming up on 2 years of it.
I am.
In May.
Oh my gosh. Yes, girl.
Yeah.
Thank you for knowing
so
that.
First of all, let's celebrate her.
Aw,
because
thanks.
I think it's awesome.
I'm gonna take that.
Yes, I really do. I think it's so awesome. And I feel like so many other people, like businesses, are catching on to that too, because I was just at a restaurant in Austin and they had an awesome list of cocktails, mocktails.
Yes.
And they were just as beautiful.
Wow.
I got a green juice mocktail. And I was like, this is actually really cool. So I think it's like, the promotion of alcohol to be able to like relax and communicate or take an edge off. It's changing, I think, in so many environments.
That's good.
And then I also feel like people like you who are willing to be open and share their stories are providing a space for people to just feel normal.
Thank you for saying that, because I did not feel normal when I started a journey of sobriety. And the sobriety is a tough term because I'm like sober. I like to just think of myself as alcohol free. I don't know why that. And maybe I don't even know. I have a knee jerk reaction to it, but it's not like I just still associate like maybe that's my own jerk in me, but like when I was not sober, I was like, you don't drink, you freaking weirdo. This guy's a weirdo. You know, like, I remember moments where people would be around me like, oh, I don't drink. And I was like, okay, goodbye. Yeah. Like, we have nothing in common. Yeah. And I really, I have a lot of regret about that because I didn't realize what it takes to be sober and also, or alcohol free. And also like, but really like the life that I have, like I never thought I could live without alcohol. Right. Yeah. And now I can't understand how I thought I was living with it. Yeah. You know, and that's just because of, that's how I was abusing it, or I was using it inappropriately, I should say. Yeah. Like I wasn't some drunk on the street, you know, like living homeless
and walking across the street looking crazy.
Right. But that, for whatever reason, that was like some measure of like, oh, well, I'm not that. You know? So like, but what I was definitely thinking that alcohol was a social lubricant, and for someone who loves to be social, like I thought
like you felt like you needed it, like a prerequisite for like, I mean, I remember like I didn't drink until I got to college.
Oh wow.
But then
you're cute.
But when I got to college, she said I was cute.
That's so cute.
I think that's what happens when you grow up in a small town though. Right. Like I feel like maybe had I grown up in Memphis, and I'm sure Aaron maybe has a different story. Yeah. But had I grown up in like one of the major cities, I probably would have been introduced to it like far sooner than I did.
Well, and you know, that's the thing too for me. It goes back for a lot of generations. Like my great grandmother used to sell hooch, moonshine, during like the Prohibition era. So like she was someone who enjoyed a good party. My aunt, everybody in my family, like it have
was
a good time.
Thing,
like and I remember as a little girl, like, you know, there was the people who didn't drink would be in the kitchen, and the people who did drink would be in the garage, listening to music, smoking cigarettes, hanging out, having fun. And I was in the garage, honey. I want to get up in the mix.
And
you know what I mean?
For me, it looks completely different because my granddad was a bootlegger. Oh. And so my dad was like, I don't want anything to do with alcohol. Oh. So in my house, like even when my mom's family members who drink just like an occasional beer or some wine, like when they would come to our house, my daddy would, nope, not here. Oh. You can't. So I was always like, he took a completely different approach because he saw it. Right. So he was like, absolutely not in this house.
Well, and you know, I saw this sign the other day that said, alcohol is the only drug that people will make fun of you for not taking.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't think about that.
Great. And I was kind of a bully, and I didn't know any sober people. I didn't know any people who didn't drink, and I couldn't imagine having fun without it. And it took the pandemic when I just had a baby, so I was already postpartum me. Yeah, whatever that is, you know, like I don't know if I was depressed, but I was definitely postpartum me, and my emotions were everywhere. The pandemic was raging.
About that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get there. Yeah. The pandemic was raging. I just moved across the country. There was a lot going on, and like, and the only way that I could be social was to be Zoom calling somebody at 8:00 in the morning, having a glass of whatever, right? And it was totally normal.
But I feel like you're not alone in that. I think the pandemic pulled out a lot for people.
Yeah, it did.
I think it just like, I mean, the emotional toll that it took on folks, like, and then not to mention like, it still is. Yeah, I feel especially now because we're in the thick of like major layoffs for everybody, and everybody's trying to figure out like where do we go from here? Right. They say that like, you know, we're healthy, we can get back out without masks on and all these things, but the economy's like going to hell.
Well, you're a sunshine bear. That just picked the wrong time to stop drinking, didn't I? Thanks.
But I just feel like, well, then you develop coping skills.
Right. And that's what I did. And so, and I mean, alcohol had already been a coping skill. I just took it to another level during the pandemic. And then one day I was just remembering, I was just asking God, like, help me, like, please help me. And I can still clearly hear him say, and I'm not a very religious person, at least certainly then I wasn't, certainly having a new relationship now, but I heard God say, like, how do you expect me to work through you and you're drunk?
Yes.
Like, all the time. And I was like, how do you expect me to work through you? Like, what miracle do you expect me to perform through you?
Turning water into wine.
Hello, right? Well, Lord knows my heart, darling. But he's like, I've already done that, and it's already written, so I can't do it again. Right. What else can I do for you? You know? And so I was like, okay. And it was so loud, Jasmine, like I couldn't not hear it, right? Yeah. It was so clear. and such a thought that was not mine. I don't think that way. I don't talk to myself that way.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay. Like I will
hear
stop.
you. Yeah.
And so, and I mean, here's the thing. I had a year of Mondays where I would say, I'm going to stop drinking on Monday. I'm going to cut it out on Monday. I'm going to do it okay. But then Monday, I might stop drinking Monday. But then Tuesday was, Taco Tuesday, tequila and tacos. Of course I have to do it. Hump day, Wednesday. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's Thursday. I guess I'll just do it. Thursday is pretty much Friday. And Friday is definitely Saturday. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
so
I just kept
weekend.
negotiating with myself when I was going to stop
that's
drinking.
a good way of putting it.
Yeah. And what I was really doing was lying to myself. I wasn't keeping any real promises to myself. And so when I stopped drinking, what I learned from that, and you know, the drinking is already one thing, and we can even talk about that if you want to, but more importantly, I'm able to tell myself something and do it for myself. Like I can keep a promise to myself for the first time in a probably long time.
So you just have like a new level of confidence and strength.
Right. And discipline. Like I know that I can do something if I really want to.
Yeah.
You know, like I can also say I'm going to work out, which is the next thing on
We've
my
already
list.
discussed this.
Yes.
We've already discussed it. We're never going to be Victoria's Secret models.
It ain't over.
Look,
So
it ain't for us.
Let me just stop the drinking.
But you look way better anyway. So,
Thank you. I'll take it.
We don't need it.
One thing at a time, Lord. He's working on me one thing at a time.
Right. Maybe he's going to whisper to us one day, stop eating so much.
Yeah, well, now that ain't the Lord talking. That's the
that
devil.
Ain't the Lord.
That's the devil alive.
Period.
Yes. Like, don't take that from me, God.
No.
But I will gladly give up the things that are not serving me any longer. And that's what it is. The alcohol for me, it was serving me for a time. There was a time where I lived a really fun life, and I did a lot of really, exciting things, and I'm sure alcohol helped to propel some of those moments. I can't remember them, but they were great. But now what's serving me is having some clarity, some like availability for my children. I got 2 little boys. They are super active, and me coming in like a little bit hazy, a little bit off kilter, not completely available for them is just not serving me right now.
Yeah, because they take your energy too. Girl. And they need all your power. All of it. Yeah.
And I need to be on my toes because they're older now, and I'm like, hey, what's that? What are you doing?
Yeah,
hey.
what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. Rain's 16 months now, and I'm just like, she needs all of it. Like, and we talked about a little bit of this beforehand, but like mom guilt is like so real. And as much as you think you're not going to have it, you do have mom guilt sometimes, especially when you're doing as much as you are, and I am too.
Yeah, I'm always going to have a reason to shame myself. Yeah. Listen, let me just make that clear. Like, even if I wasn't a parent, I'd be telling myself I'm not doing something right. So it's like, fine. But, and that's the part I'm working on too. Like, right, I got to be kind to myself, right?
Yeah.
But mom guilt is there because someone said, like, what's a good parent? And I'm like, right, what is a good parent? I don't know. Like, I don't even know what that is. So I'm trying to be something I don't even know that it is.
I think for me, I just learned how better to manage my emotions. And good. To me, that's parenting. So like, it's managing your emotions because beforehand, you can cuss out your whoever with whatever, and you just can't have that same energy when you become a parent.
That's true.
You have to manage your emotions on so many levels.
Oh, emotional intelligence. Let's go there. That's important.
It's emotional intelligence on a whole new level. It's like your
and
patience.
Maturity.
Yes, and all of it. And also just learning how to ride the wave. So we talk about, you mentioned like you were in postpartum, but you wouldn't call it postpartum depression. The reason why I wanted to go back to that is because I think a lot of people, because we're now talking about postpartum depression, we think that we have to diagnose like the full extent. Right. And maybe you're just like riding the wave of the emotions that come with being in postpartum.
Yeah, definitely.
So, because
it's an adjustment,
Yeah, it's an adjustment.
You're running on no sleep. You're running on, half the time you haven't showered or bathed or done all of your other chores, and you're shaming yourself for all the things you haven't done that you're
shaming yourself for shaming yourself. Not even the mom guilt. Like you're just shaming yourself. Like nobody said anything. You're just like calling attention to all these things. So like, can't wait.
Yeah, they can wait.
They can wait.
And that's exactly what we go back to when we were talking about posting every day. Like, I have just part of being a mother is like really deciding what is the most important thing to do right now, right? And like at the end of the day, if I can say that I like was present at some point, at one point, not all the time, but at some point in the day with my kids.
We all check out.
Yeah. If I could just do one thing in each department, a little bitty thing, even if it's just like I put the load of laundry from the washer into the dryer.
Right.
Like whatever that thing is, just one thing in one department, like whatever that is for you.
It keeps the wheel going.
I can't do everything. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I can't do everything either. So I'm learning how to give myself grace, like a lot of it, like the emotional intelligence, the grace, and just like, knowing that it'll get done one day. Might not be right now, but one day.
And it's not the end of the world if it doesn't.
No, it's not
the end of the world.
So with like life happening, you doing all your projects, your DIY projects, you being on TV, you traveling. You mentioned you just got back from North Carolina doing an installation and momming and wifing.
Yeah.
What tips can you give to help somebody who is trying to do all these things?
I don't know. Can y'all give me some tips? And when you say it like that, I'm like, you're right. I'm doing too much.
Look,
I'm going to take something off the list.
People ask me, so I'm flipping the script.
Okay, no,
and I'm asking you.
No. I want to ask you, what do you do? You're the same thing, everything else. What are you doing to balance it all?
I dedicate a lot of time to meditation, prayer journaling.
I'm already failing. There we go.
No, you're not.
Journaling.
You're not.
You got time to write things down?
Look, I will take 5 minutes because I have 5 minutes to take.
Okay.
Because I'm owning I am reclaiming my time. As Representative Maxine Waters said, I have reclaimed my time.
There you go.
So I am managing my emotions.
Okay, there you go.
I am reclaiming my time.
Yeah.
So if that means that I step away for 5 minutes to go prayer journal and like meditate, then that's what I'm going to do.
I like that.
And then I also at least 4 times a week at a minimum, I'm going to find some physical activity. So physical activity is where I get my clarity from. I was on the treadmill this morning and I literally was on the treadmill listening to Afro beats, dancing at the YMCA, and everybody around me, I'm sure, was like, that woman is gone crazy. But like I needed every bit of that time just to like come into myself and hear myself think, because a lot of times as a mom, you can't even hear yourself think because you're consciously paying attention to this little person.
Girl,
so for me, like I said, I include my physical activity. I write everything down. I'm literally using the notes section in my phone. If I have a thought come to me while I'm driving, I will make a voice memo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
I try to stay very organized.
Jesus.
So,
all right. Well, let's see what I'm doing now to keep it all together.
You look incredible.
Well, I'm not. It's not exercise.
Well, you look incredible, so I can't tell that you're not keeping it all together.
I'm going to get it together. Listen, you know what? I really just try to be present with my kids. Like, that's one thing that, because I have felt that my parents weren't exactly all that present for me all the time. Yeah. So that's one thing that I feel like I can do to just, like, even if I'm at dinner time and we just, like, check in. That's, for me, one of the things I do. And I like to just take 5 minutes, like you said. It's not for journaling or anything. Yeah. But if it's doing a quick DIY project, or if it's, for me, I like gardening. I like just ripping the weeds. I say gardening, but that's not true. I like ripping out weeds. So I'll just go out there and
you're managing your emotions.
I'm managing my emotions. That's what I'm doing. I'm managing my emotions. That's it.
I did want to ask you a question. In a world full of consumerism, you present social media with options to thrift. And you also just gave us some options to thrift with your outfit choices of today. So what's been your most prized possession with thrifting?
Girl, all of them.
All of them?
Let me tell you something. Those Egyptians, they did it right. They died and were buried with all of their things. I want to be buried with all of my things.
Yeah.
I want all my things in it. Yes, girl. I find the best stuff in thrift stores.
Yeah.
Like, I do. I just love everything that I get there. I have this emotional attachment with things. I don't know how. Yeah. And my therapist would say, Lauren, you have to love people, not things. Well, I love my people, but I love my things too.
Well, if you're going to be here, why not love your things
I just love them.
So,
it's like funny because like the first thing that comes to my mind, I got these really amazing marble bookends the other week.
I think I saw you post that on your social media.
I love it.
And didn't you find out how much they were worth? Like,
no, that was my chess set.
Okay.
My Brutalist chess set, which I'm obsessed with. By the way, if anyone has a Brutalist chess set board out there, if anyone's listening, I'm looking for it. That was on my Instagram stories. Yes. I know. I find these like parts of things that are not fully together, like the chess set. I found the pieces, but not the board.
Yeah.
It's out there. Anyway. For me, I just love treasure hunting, and I find that all of my things that I find in thrift stores are just little treasures.
Yeah.
And so like I love them all, but like I mean, it could be a really cool piece of furniture. It could be like a really cool, unique like tapestry. I got this great tapestry the other week, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. But jewelry, I mean, I find everything in thrift stores. I want to take it all with me.
Yeah.
I love it all.
Well, while Lauren is busy finding treasures, she has dropped all of the gems today. I hope you guys have taken away something for motherhood, for wife life, for if you want to design your life in any shape, form, or facet. You definitely have given us that today.
Thank you,
I do have just a couple of rapid questions.
Go on. Yes.
For
I
you.
love rapid fire. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't even
real
read these.
plants or faux plants?
Ooh, depends on what kind of plant owner you are.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, who doesn't love a real... let me say something. Let me first say something.
Okay.
The faux plant world has made a lot of advancements now.
Yeah, it has.
And I love
They
fake
look real.
shit, okay?
Yeah.
I love fake hair. I love fake nails, fake body parts. So I would just say both. Can I have to choose? I say both.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, both it is. I have faux plants and real plants.
Yeah.
So I would agree.
Me too.
Neutrals or colors?
Ooh, colors.
Okay.
Look
I'm
at
a
me
color
go.
girl. We're both color girls.
I am.
Look.
You know, neutrals are a vibe. Look at this vibe. Look at this.
Neutrals are a vibe, but I tell you, with kids, colors are it for me.
I love
Like
color.
I have a house full of colors.
I love color.
It just makes me happy.
I know. Me too.
Maximalism or minimalism?
Well, Max.
Yeah.
I like the Mac. I'm a Maxinista.
Yeah.
It's my last name, Mac.
Yes. Makk hacks, you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next for you?
Picking up my kids from school.
And hey, that is
Mom,
enough.
listen,
enough.
look, I'm taking it day by day.
Yeah.
You know, so many things are exciting. So many things are exciting things are happening that I'd love to share. And of course, if you follow me on social media, you can find out.
Absolutely. You guys, thank you so much for just teaching us all of your Makk hacks today in designing our best lives.
Yeah.
So you guys make sure you check out Lauren Makk on HGTV. She told you what time.
Well, depends on where you are. Just follow me on social media and you can find out.
Follow her on social media and you can find exactly what she's doing to design her best life, because it's obviously pretty beautiful inside and out.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.